Hi, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and I'm really excited to be here today to share with you my latest project. This is a design team project for Cara Brandon, and this kit that I used is her Retro Picnic digital kit, which is available in her shop, and I'll include the link in the description box below. I took inspiration from Tracy Fox, who has been binding journals lately with these spiral rings, and I happen to have a bunch of these in my stash because I've been, doing this type of thing forever, and I had a bunch of them left, and I'm like, oh, I should just, go ahead and use them. She, inspired me to do that. So I went ahead and made this project. I really love the way this turned out. I used an old Better Homes and Gardens cookbook as the base for this journal. And it includes, it's probably about 90 to 95% all vintage book pages and old papers. But I did all the accent pieces, and many of the accent pieces, I should say, are from Cara's Retro Picnic collection. And I took the inspiration for the theme from Cara's kit. So, okay, so let's dig in. I made this closure for this book using actually this is a hair band, one that I purchased with the express purpose of using for crafting. It's never been used in hair before, but I really like the way it's just elastic and it fits on there nice. And I did that because you can see this is already a little bit of a gator mouth. So having something to close it, I thought would be kind of a good idea. And then I just did this little decoration on here with some lace and some burlap, a little piece of one of those little Tim Holtz game pieces, some ribbon, some twine, and an old tape measure, a blue tape measure, which I thought was kind of fun. I don't think I've ever seen a blue tape measure like that before, but I used a little eyelet in there and kind of put it all together. And I just think it adds a little something there. But you can take that off and you can use it or not. With this, you can always take this apart. It's sewn not directly onto the so this actually moves freely, but you can, it pulls through, but you can, use these pieces. If you don't like it as a closure, you can use these pieces separately for other projects or in here. This cookbook was in pretty rough shape. It was falling apart. The cover was already off, so I didn't feel bad about taking it apart or anything. And the corners were a little banged up, so I put these metal corners on all of the corners of the front and the back. And then I added this little ephemera piece. Instead of gluing these to the cover, I thought, I wanted to kind of keep that cover intact because it's really old and it's really cool looking. So I thought it would be fun to keep it intact. So I just added this ephemera piece from Cara's kit onto the front here. And that has a little place for journaling there. It has a little doily on top of this one, on top of Cara's page here, because you've got to have, picnics can be fancy too. And that opens up there. And then this is the front of the cookbook, the Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. So you can see how it layers up just like that, and you could glue these down if you wanted to, or you can leave it kind of the way it is. And then it opens up, and I left the interior original because I love this blue with the red gingham. I just think it's a beautiful combination. It's so beautifully aged. Look at that. I mean, this book is really gorgeous. It did put in this little library pocket, and it has a little library card in here. And this is just the name of Cara's kit, Retro Picnic by Cara Brandon. This is one of the pages from Cara's kit, and I made this into a little envelope. And inside I have a vintage piece of ephemera, a really old, probably from the 40s or 50s recipe card with picnic salad. So I thought that was really fun. And then I just took a time card and I added a little piece of ephemera on some chipboard here and some washi. Kind of just put that in there like that, and it just slips right in to the pocket, which I thought was a lot of fun. And this is a vintage flower or garden book. This is vintage paper from a notepad. This is part of the original cookbook, as is this, and there's lots of room for journaling on here. This is a glassine bag with a little tag that I made from Cara's kit. A little bit of seam binding and barbecue and a little bit of lace. This is from a Dick and Jane book, and while this is not, I guess you couldn't call it officially vintage, it is a reproduction, but it was from the early 90s, so it's almost vintage, so it's vintage-esque, I guess. So it's not quite 40 years old, but it's about 30 years old. This is from a vintage scrapbook. This is a nice thick piece of paper here. More pieces from the cookbook. I have this little tag that I made. This is some actual vintage fabric that was made into a ribbon. And these are all pieces from Cara's kit. A little bulb pin here attaching the 4 with a cute little backing on this tag that kind of opens up like this. And then I have this beautiful lady on the back. I really love the way, you know, Cara has a lot of the gingham and the old 40s and 50s ladies in here. So it perfectly matches this kind of theme. This, just a little clip that I used with a little typewriter thing on there. So that goes with that. This is actually a vintage envelope from an estate sale. I don't know exactly how old it is, but it's probably at least from the 80s. And then I have this little Norman Rockwell picture on here. I thought this was adorable. You see this family, it looks like they're going on a picnic here. And then you open it up and this is the return. They go from being all excited and you know, and perky to just being kind of exhausted. The dog's the only one who looks like he has any energy left. But I just, so I've got this page, and then, you know, you could do some journaling on the back of this. This is from a book page, a Norman Rockwell book page, but you could, you know, get gesso over this or put some paper over it and then do journaling on the back here. But this doesn't relate to this picture. So, okay. And then there's a little doily here, another page from the cookbook. And this is from a vintage, like a record book for stocks and bonds and tax things. There's lots of room for journaling on it. Again, this is from Cara's kit, and I made a couple little pockets out of here. And here's the front and the back, and then just added a couple little tags on the interior with lots of room for journaling. I did a little stitching around there. This is some gorgeous vintage graph paper that's really sheer. You can see right through it. It's really pretty. And this is a vintage, I like the way this kind of layers up here, but this is a vintage little golden book, bird book. Got this, this is from a vintage atlas, the map of the United States. And again, from that little book. Together. This is some kind of mulberry paper. This is not a vintage piece. This is just some handmade paper in there. Vintage music sheet. Again, from that vintage book on flowers. This is a vintage stamp book. And then again, this envelope is from the cookbook. And I just put a little guest check in there. Some more of the vintage paper. And this is from a different vintage booklet for taxes, recording taxes. And then again, from that vintage plant book. Got some music paper in here. And in this, I just put a little, a few tickets. These are not vintage tickets. These are modern day tickets. This is a really cute little postcard. It's another day in paradise minus the paradise. This is not vintage, but this is a vintage tally sheet. This is from, I can't think of the name of the game. I've never played the game myself, but there's a game that goes with. And get another tab page. This is the bird, more of that bird book. And here is some more of Cara's printable, one of her pages. And inside I have just a little bundle of some ephemera from her kit. Just used a little clip. That's some of her ephemera, some tickets. And this is paper that you could tear up. It's just like some waxed paper for lining like baskets in a restaurant type thing. And this is something that you could tear up and put in here, or, to collage with, or whatever you want to do. You can see there's these pieces of ephemera from Cara's kit that I already fussy cut for you. So those are cute. So that just goes back in there like that. Some more of that vintage paper. Another little glassine envelope. I've got some more ephemera pieces in here. This is a vintage playing card, and you can see the kids. Kind of looks like they're at a lake, possibly having a picnic. That's a vintage card. This is a vintage Denison label. It just glues. You can add it to this kit or anywhere you'd like. And another little ephemera piece from Cara's kit. I just double printed that. Another one of those stock pages. It folds out, lots of room for journaling. Here's another little envelope from Cara's kit. It's a cute little clip right there with a heart on it. And another little ephemera pack. Here's some ephemera, some tickets, and then this is just the same type of stuff. This is wax paper that you can tear up and use in this, or, you know, another project if you'd like. Okay, so you have this really cute little milk cap. And you've got a little egg thing. Number 4. Food is the best. And then a little postcard. Okay, so that just goes in there like that. That's the other side. Some more vintage lined paper. Some more. This is actually out of the cookbook, which is kind of fun, and it's about removing stains. So I thought that was fun. Some more of that from that plant book. Oh, I really love this. This is like really old vintage mimeograph paper. I thought this was really a lot of fun. I love these colors on here. And that just is blank on the back, and it's light enough that you could just journal right over that. This is from a vintage book. It's the front you know, page when you kind of open the book. So that's really, I thought that was a beautiful color and wanted to include that in there. Another piece of doily, and the doily's not vintage, but the other pieces are. Some more from the cookbook. More cookbook pages, lots of room for journaling. I really wanted to make this a journal that has a lot more room for journaling than my typical books, because seems like that seems to be like the way that people use these types of journals more. Another piece of that mulberry paper. Tab page from the cookbook. I love these Dick and Jane book pages. I think they're so cute. And this is from a notepad. This is actually also vintage. It's at least from the 80s. So I thought that was cool. Some more of that tax sheet. Lots of room for journaling. Another piece of that vintage scrapbook. This is really fun. This is a really old TV repair manual. So I thought that was a really fun page to include in there. Another little cluster of embellishments here. This is a vintage piece of ephemera. This is a really old receipt from a receipt booklet. So I thought that was really fun to include in there. And then another postcard. This is not vintage, but it has, you know, the vintage lady on there. So make yourself at home, clean my kitchen. She's my kind of lady. And I just kind of put it in there in that mimeograph paper. Another piece of that really nice sheer graph paper. And I really tried to layer it up so that you got lots of interest for each page. Some more of that stamp book paper. And these ducks, I thought that was really appropriate for a picnic, because we like to feed the ducks when we're at the water in the picnic. Oh, and this was a really fun page. This is from an old typing manual. So I thought that was a lot of fun. You see the hands on the typewriter. So I thought that was fun, and that's why this kind of little typewriter charm kind of is appropriate for that. And then this last is just a the cover, the protecting sheet for an old 45 album. And I thought this was a lot of fun. And then I just put a napkin with a vintage lady inside of there, because you know we need napkins while we're on a picnic, right? I didn't want to add too much weight to this because it's a little bit fragile, but I didn't want to alter it too much, just give you know, a place for whoever gets this to do what they like with it. And then the back cover I kept very simple, just because this was already getting kind of chunky. So that is this book. I hope you enjoy it. I really had a lot of fun making it. It was really, I mean, I just love this style, actually. I really enjoy making this kind of book. I think this was a lot of fun. This is kind of, I love this 40s and 50s vibe from Cara's kit. I hope you check it out. I will, like I said, leave a link for the to the kit on where you can purchase the kit on Etsy down below on Cara's Etsy shop, as well as her walkthrough video of the kit. I'm going to have this booklet in my Etsy shop, so I will also include a link for that in the description box below, on how you can get this this journal if you would like it. So that's what it looks like when the little closure's on there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give this a thumbs up and leave me a comment in the description box below. I really had a lot of fun making this, and I hope that you know, you enjoy it and that it provides inspiration for any projects that you would choose to make. Again, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and craft on.